Welcome students. In the last lecture we have studied second poem Indian Rivers. Today we are going to start the next poem, that is 2.3, the Inchcape Rock. This poem is written by Robert Southey. Robert Southey was a poet laureate of England from 1830 to 1843. The Inchcape Rock is a ballad. Ballad means a long poem or a story. It tells us about the legends of Inchcape Rock. As a ballad, this poem, the Inchcape Rock, has so many classical English words, or the poet Robert Southey has used so many classical English words in this poem. As a ballad, this poem has 17 stanzas of 4 lines each. Now, I am going to read the first stanza. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was still as she could be. Herself from heaven received no motion. Her keel was steady in the ocean. While listening this stanza, we come across some new or difficult words. The first word is stir. Stir means movement, or in Marathi it is halchal. Then there is second word, cells. Cells means cloths. आणि मराठीमध्ये सांगायचं तर सेल्स म्हणजे क्लॉथ, किंवा मराठीमध्ये त्याला आपण शीट असं म्हणतो. जहाजाचा वरती एक कापडी असं बांधलेलं असतं आणि त्याला शीट असं म्हटलं जातं, तर ते म्हणजे सेल्स. देन देयर इज नेक्स्ट वर्ड keel. Keel means the base of the ship or the bottom of the ship. Now I am going to explain the first stanza. In the first line, the poet said, no stir in the air, no stir in the sea. Means there is no any type of movement in the sea. There is no, the air is calm, there is calmness in the air, there is calmness in the sea, and the ship was also calm, or they were still. Sails have no motion, keel was steady in the ocean. म्हणजे समुद्रामध्ये सर्वत्र शांतता आहे, जहाज आमच्या जागी आहे, हवा हलत नाहीये किंवा इतर कोणत्याही हालचाली त्या ठिकाणी होत नाही. Now I am going to read the second stanza. Listen it carefully. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape Rock. So little they rose, so little they fell. They did not move the Inchcape well. In this stanza, there are also some difficult or new words. The new word in this stanza is shock. Shock means jerk, किंवा एखादा धक्का देणे किंवा धक्का बसणे अशा अर्थ. Now I am going to explain the second stanza. In this second stanza, the poet describes the mild sea waves. The mild sea waves in these stanzas are described by the poet. The waves are rising and falling without making any sign or without making any sound. They are flowlessly, they are flowing, and the waves are gently flowing without ringing the bell. Means these waves are unable to touch the ringing bell, and they are flowing without making noise, without making any type of sound. म्हणजे ह्या कड्यामध्ये कवीनं असं सांगितलेलं आहे की समुद्राच्या ज्या लाटा आहेत त्या एवढ्या शांत आहेत की त्या तिथं असणाऱ्या इंचकेप बेलला त्या वाजवू शकत नाहीत किंवा तिथपर्यंत पोहोचू शकत नाहीत किंवा त्या एवढ्या अगदी अशा वादळी स्वरूपाच्या नाहीत की जेणेकरून ज्यामुळं ते तिथं असणारं इंचकेप बेल तिथं ते वाजेल. Then next I am going to read the third stanza. The abbot of Aberbrothock had placed that bell on the Inchcape rock. On a buoy in the storm, it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. In this stanza also, there are some new words. The first word is buoy. Buoy means floater. आपण त्याला मराठीमध्ये विषारी असं म्हणतो बुoy. किंवा एखादी समुद्रामध्ये ठेवण्यात आलेली करंगती खूण किंवा we can call it mark to give sign of any accident. Then there is next word swung. Swung means waved, म्हणजे हलका वेगाने. And the third word is rung, means sounding, आवाज करणे. In the third stanza, the poet describes that an old abbot of Aberbrothock placed or installed bell on the Inchcape rock. The Inchcape rock is a very dangerous place, or because of that rock there will be the accidents. So abbot of Aberbrothock had placed or installed the bell to give a sign of danger to the mariners or to the sailors. During the storms, this bell rang wildly and gives alert to everyone that the dangerous rock was there. Like this, in this poem, the poet has told us about the Inchcape rock. या तिसऱ्या स्टांजामध्ये कवीनं इंचकेप रॉकवरती बसवण्यात आलेल्या इंचकेप बेलचं वर्णन केलेलं आहे. तर ही इंचकेप बेल कोणी बसवलेली आहे तर abbot of Aberbrothock. abbot म्हणजे कोण तर धर्मगुरू किंवा मठाधिपती आपण असं त्यांना म्हणतो. Aberbrothock ही एक प्लेस आहे, ठिकाण आहे. त्या ठिकाणी असणाऱ्या abbotनं म्हणजे त्या धर्मगुरूनं ती बेल त्या इंचकेप रॉकवरती बसवलेली होती किंवा ही हॅड इन्स्टॉल्ड दॅट बेल. आता ही बेल त्यानं तिथं का बसवलेली होती तर तिथं होणाऱ्या वादळाचा अलर्ट किंवा तिथं होणाऱ्या येणाऱ्या वादळाचा साईन लोकांना मिळावं आणि म्हणून त्यानं तिथं ती इन्स्टॉल केलेली होती. किंवा तिथं जे असणारा इंचकेप रॉक आहे त्या इंचकेप रॉकमुळे काही ऍक्सिडेंट्स होऊ नये आणि ते ऍक्सिडेंट्स टाळण्यासाठी त्यानं ती बेल तिथं इन्स्टॉल केलेली होती. ज्यावेळी वादळ येतं किंवा लाटा जोरजोरानं येतात वाहतात त्यावेळेस ती बेल तिथं असणाऱ्या त्या फ्लोटरमुळे वाजते आणि म्हणून त्यातून त्यांना एक साईन मिळतो की समथिंग इज डेंजरस देअर. आणि अशा पद्धतीने कवीनं तिथं त्या इंचकेप बेलचं वर्णन केलेलं आहे. आय एम गोइंग द स्टांजा. When the rock was hit by the surge swell, the mariners heard the warning bell, and then they knew the perilous rock and blessed the abbot of Aberbrothock. In this stanza, there are new words or some difficult words. The first word is hid. Hid means hidden or covered. Means म्हणजे लपलेलं किंवा दडलेलं. सेकंड वर्ड सर्च swell. Perilous. Perilous means dangerous, म्हणजे धोकादायक. And the last word is blessed. It's an old English word. Blessed means blessed. इथं अर्थ प्रशंसा करणे किंवा आशीर्वाद देणे आहे. Now I am going to explain the fourth stanza. In this fourth stanza, the poet describes how the bell guided the mariners or the sailors in the bad weather. म्हणजे जेव्हा समुद्रामध्ये खराब हवामान असतं त्यावेळेस तिथं जे मरीनर्स आहेत त्यांना गाईड करण्यासाठी किंवा त्यांना मदतीसाठी तिथं असणारी जी बेल आहे ती कशा पद्धतीने मदत करते याचं वर्णन तिथं कवीने केलेलं आहे. The poet says, when the rock was hit by the surge swell, means when that rock, the Inchcape rock, was hidden or covered by the surge swell, by the sudden rise of the water level, त्यावेळेस जे तिथं असणारं जे पाणी वाढलं जातं आणि त्यामुळे तिथं असणारा जो रॉक आहे किंवा जो दगड आहे जो खडक आहे तो झाकला जातो, तो दिसेनासा होतो. मीन्स दी मरीनर्स ऑर दी सेलर्स वेर अनेबल टू सी दॅट रॉक, बट दीज मरीनर्स ऑर दी सेलर्स आर एबल टू लिसन द साउंड ऑफ द Inchcape bell, which is placed by the abbot of Aberbrothock. So the people blessed, so the people praised abbot of Aberbrothock because he has saved so many lives and give them the right way, right direction, and make them happy. Then I am going to read the next stanza or the fifth stanza. The sun in heaven was shining gay. All things were joyful on that day. The seabirds screamed as they wheeled round, and there was joyance in their sound. In this poem also there are some difficult words. The first word is wheel round. Wheel round means roaming over किंवा आपण मराठीमध्ये म्हणतो की गिरक्या आहे. There is next word which is joyance. Joyance means happiness, and the another word in this stanza, in the first line of the stanza, is gay. It means happy or bright. Now I am going to explain the fifth stanza. In this stanza, the poet says us about the setting of the poem. In this setting, there are some natural elements. The poet has described the natural elements like shining sun, cheerful birds, or the atmosphere. This happy atmosphere is generally happens before every disaster. Means it is a sign of the disaster upcoming. The poet says the sun in heaven was shining gay. The sun in the heaven was shining gay means the sun was bright, means there is happiness. All things were joyful on that day. On that day, the poet says, on that day, all the things were joyful, means there was delight in birds were singing. They are singing joyfully. And in the last line, the poet says, their voice joins in their sound. Means in the sound of the birds there is joyance, there is delight. Means the whole atmosphere, the total atmosphere is happy, the total atmosphere is delightful, means there is joy. Next stanza I am going to read, that is the sixth stanza. The boy of the Inchcape bell was seen, a darker speck on the ocean green. Sir Ralph the rower walked this deck, and he fixed his eye on the darker speck. While listening this poem, while listening this stanza, we come across some new words, that is speck. Speck means dot or the mark. There is another word, that is deck. Deck means झाजावरील एक लाकडी मजला. So, in this stanza, there is a character, Sir Ralph the rower. The poet, now I am going to explain this stanza. In this stanza, the poet says, the boy of the Inchcape bell was seen. Boy means the floater, the mark. The mark of that Inchcape bell, the floater, was seen by the sailors or by the mariners. Boy means a floating object which is seen by the mariners or the mariners. Then, in the second line, poet says, a darker speck on the ocean green. The poet says the ocean is green, and on that green ocean there is a speck, there is a dot, the dot of that boy. And this speck, this dot is darker. This is darker, means which can be easily notified or noticed by the mariners. Sir Ralph the rower walked his deck. The poet says, when Sir Ralph the rower seen or saw that dot, that boy, he walked his deck. तर तो काय करतो, तर त्याच्या त्या जहाजावरील लाकडीच्या मजल्यावरती तिथे तो येतो किंवा चालत तिथे येतो. And he fixed his eye on the darker speck. आणि मग नंतर तो त्याची नजर त्या डार्कर स्पेक वरती, त्या डार्कर असणाऱ्या त्या गडद अशा त्या निशाण्यावरती तो काय करतो, तर फिक्स करतो, त्याच्याकडे पाहत राहतो. Now I am going to read the seventh stanza. He felt the cheering power of spring. It made him whistle, it made him sing. His heart was mirthful to excess, but the rover's mirth was wickedness. In this stanza, there is a new word, mirthful. Mirthful means happiness or happy. Then there is another word, wickedness. Wickedness means evil, वाईट किंवा दुष्ट असं काहीतरी. Now I am going to explain this stanza. In this stanza, the poet says, he felt, in the first line, the poet says, he felt the cheering power of spring. means the Ralph, the rover, was delighted. He was happy, and he was delighted at the good spring atmosphere. Because of that good spring atmosphere, he was happy, he was delighted. So, because of that happy atmosphere or delightful atmosphere, he whistled. He was whistling and he was singing. That atmosphere made him to sing. That atmosphere made him to whistle. But actually, he was not happy. He was happy, or his happiness was not for good thing. His happiness was not pure, and no one knew what is the intention behind his happiness, because he was going to do something bad. His happiness was not pure. So he was going to do something bad. For doing something bad, he was happy. Means in his mind there was wickedness. त्याच्या मनामध्ये पाप होता, त्याच्या मनामध्ये दुष्टपणा होता. तो आनंदी होता, तो आनंदी वाटत होता. तिथे असणाऱ्या त्या वातावरणामुळे तो आनंदी झाला, परंतु त्याचा आनंद हा शुद्ध नव्हता, किंवा त्या आनंदा पाठीमागे असणारा त्या राल्फ रोवरचा तो आनंद किंवा त्याचा हेतू हा शुद्ध नव्हता, आणि त्याच्या पाठीमागे त्याला काहीतरी वाईट कृत्य करायचं होतं, आणि ते वाईट कृत्य करण्यासाठी तो एनकरेज झाला होता. He was encouraged to do something bad. The intention in his mind was bad. He was going to do something harmful to the others. Now, I am going to read the next stanza, or the 8th stanza. His eye was on the Inchcape float. Quoth he, my men, put out the boat and row me to the Inchcape rock, and I shall like the abbot of Aberloch. In this poem, there are two difficult words, or two new words. The first word is quoth. Quoth means said. Quoth is an old English word, or it's an Arctic word. It means said. And the next word is plague. Plague means pain or trouble. म्हणजे एखाद्याला यातना देणं, वेदना देणं, किंवा एखाद्याला त्रास देणं. Now I am going to explain this stanza. In this stanza, the poetess says he felt that the poetess says his eyes was on the Inchcape flood. Means Ralph Rover had fixed his eyes on the Inchcape flood. Quoth he, my men put out the boat. He said, quoth means said. He said, my men put out the boat. He ordered his men to take that boat to that point, to that float, to that Inchcape float, and row me to the Inchcape rock. Then he ordered his men to take him to the Inchcape rock, and I shall play the abbot of Aberbrothock means he says. Then he says that he is going to plague, he is going to torture the abbot of Aberbrothock because he was evil-minded. Ralph, the rover, was evil-minded and he wanted to torture, he wanted to give pain to abbot of Aberbrothock because abbot of Aberbrothock had installed the Inchcape bell on the Inchcape rock to give a sign to the others. Something is dangerous here. He had done a great work in his life because he was a good man. Abbot म्हणजे धर्मगुरू. तो एक चांगला मनुष्य होता आणि त्याने त्याच्या हाताने चांगले काम केलेलं होतं की इंचकॅप रॉक वरती त्याने इंचकॅप बेल बसवलेली होती की जेणेकरून त्या बेलच्या साहाय्याने तिथे येणाऱ्या खलाशांना ते आवाज ऐकू येतील आणि समुद्रामध्ये असणारा तो धोका त्यांच्या लक्षात येईल आणि त्यांचे जीव त्या ठिकाणी वाचतील. बट राल्फ द रोवर वॉज एव्हल माइंडेड. परंतु राल्फ रोवर हा थोडासा एव्हल माइंडेड होता, वाईट किंवा पापी किंवा दुष्ट होता. त्याला असं वाटत होतं की तो आपण त्या एबट ऑफ एबरब्रॉथॉकची जी फेम, त्याची जी कीर्ती, त्याची जी ख्याती सर्वत्र पसरलेली आहे ती आपण काय करूया तर धुळीस मिळवूया. आणि ती कशा पद्धतीनं तर त्यानं बसवलेला, त्याने इन्स्टॉल केलेली ती जी इंचकॅप बेल आहे ती कट करून बाय कटिंग डाउन that Inchcape bell, he wanted Ralph Rover wanted to plague, wanted to give pain, or wanted to torture the abbot of Aberbrothock. Means his work was not good. He was not going to do a good work. Something bad was in his mind.